Hey YouTube, it's Lisa, and today I wanted to talk about when to baby dance to get pregnant. So I'm not a doctor, I'm not a professional. These are just kind of things I've noticed, and I have a little story to tell you too about about the way I got pregnant with one of my kids. So and how I make the decision when to baby dance. So okay, so let me tell you this story about when I got pregnant with my second son. And this kind of this is kind of how I formulated my plan to, for when to baby dance for all of my other kids and for my current trying to conceive. So, okay, when I was, when I was trying to conceive my second son, my husband had a business trip right during the time that we should be trying to conceive. So he scheduled his trip for so that he would leave late in the afternoon on Monday, and he would get home as early as possible on Friday. So on Monday, before he left, we did the baby dance, and then he left for his trip. On Wednesday, I took an ovulation predictor, and it was solid positive. So I was like, I think we're out because I don't think you're going to be home in time. Like I'm ovulating like right in the middle of when you're gone. So we kind of counted off. Of course, since he's a man, he came home and was like, well, let's try anyway on Friday. So we did. We tried on Friday, but I was positive that we'd missed our window. So I didn't even take a pregnancy test. It was probably my most relaxing 2-week wait ever, because I was probably, it was probably 3 or 4 weeks since when I came home from the gym and I sat down on the couch and I thought, I'm going to throw up. And I had no idea what was wrong with me. I felt dizzy. I thought I was going to throw up. All of a sudden I thought, oh my gosh, am I pregnant? I went upstairs. I took a pregnancy test because I'm the kind of person that just has pregnancy tests on hand. I took a pregnancy test, and sure enough, bam. It didn't even like take a while to turn. It hit, and I was pregnant. So I told my husband about it, and our joke is, because he said, when do you think it happened? And of course he was meaning, do you think it happened Monday or Friday? Do you think we got pregnant like from the time before I ovulated or the time after I ovulated? And I just kind of looked at him and I was like, well, you were in California. And so we always joke that I got pregnant. We were living in New York at the time. I got pregnant in New York while he was in California. So, but it makes you realize that you don't actually, that maybe being, the actual day of ovulation isn't as important, or the day that you get that solid test maybe isn't as important as we think it is, or maybe isn't even the best time. So here's what I do. Here's what I did with my three, because my first son I actually temped, but I was so confused I didn't do it right or whatever. And now, since I have kids that get up in the middle of the night, I can't really get an accurate temperature. So I don't temp at all now. But what I did with my 3 kids, plus my 2 miscarriages, plus my I have 4, but with only 3 have I been doing this system, and then plus I also did this with my 2 miscarriages and my chemical pregnancy. So here's what I do. I first of all use ovulation predictors. Now, I used to use crazy expensive ovulation predictors, and then I found out you can get them on the internet. So I'm sure all of you already know that. I didn't know that. Like, it hasn't been until my last couple that I've been using these. So they're just the one-for-ones. I get the pack that has 50 ovulation predictors and 20 pregnancy tests that come all in one pack. I think it's like $21. So it turns out to be really super duper cheap, because it's 70 tests for $20. So I didn't do the math on it, but yeah, that's pretty cheap. So I use the tests, and I start using them when my period ends. I just start taking them. And I take them like 3 times a day because they're so cheap. You can. So I take one in the morning, I take one in midday, and then I take one at night. And I slowly start to see the lines darkening, so I start to know when it's coming. And so I do that. And then I also, now some people don't trust the cheap tests. I actually trust them. But here's what some people do if they don't trust the test. They take the cheap ones up until they get a positive, and then they get an expensive like digital to confirm. I don't do that, which is really weird, because I'm like an obsessive test-taking person, as you know if you've seen my pregnancy line progression video. But I don't do that. I pretty much trust these. So the other thing is, then I had a doctor when I got pregnant with my first son, and I told her I was planning to get pregnant, and she said, oh, the best thing to do, the best indicator is cervical mucus. when you have that thin cervical mucus and it's right around the time you should be ovulating, that is the best time to have sex, because that is, or baby dance, didn't mean to use the sex word, but that is the best time to do that, because your body is prepared. It's the most perfect lubricant. It's the most, it's prepared to help the sperm make it. So I have always done that in conjunction with the ovulation predictors. Looked for my cervical mucus to see, and it is clear, at least in me, it is clear when that time is. I mean, my cervical mucus is literally like super heavy on those 2 days that I am most fertile. So, but because I'm a paranoid person and I'm afraid that I'll miss the window, so my husband loves this part of trying to conceive. So the day after my period ends, we start baby dancing every other day. Not every day, because we don't want his sperm count to go lower. So we want to keep his sperm count nice and high, but we always want sperm that I believe can live up to 72 hours. I read online, don't believe everything you read online, but I read that sperm lives 72 hours, but I also saw some study that lives longer than that. So, but I'm going with 72. So I always want to have sperm like waiting in the reservoir in case that egg just drops down. I want it to be there. So every other day we baby dance, and then if I get a positive ovulation predictor, which I will usually get a couple. Like when I start realizing now that I'm taking the cheap ones, I'll take one in the morning, and if it's positive, then I'll take one later, and if it's positive, then I'll take one in the morning if it's positive. Anyway, so we go every other day. Then during the time that I have a positive test, we do every day during that time. That way we never miss the window. So I guess that's what I do. Okay, let me see. I had everything, cervical mucus, ovulation predictors, the every other day thing. So I guess that sums it up. And then I guess the bottom line is, even though it can become a chore, you don't want it to become a chore. So even if it's like kind of emotionally in the back of your mind, like a chore, I think it's better for our husbands and our husband's sperm count if we kind of don't remind them that we're making a baby. So I always, just try to make it super exciting and super awesome. And, we try not to talk about the fact that we're trying to make a baby so we can keep it fun. So I hope this helps. I guess we will know. I haven't ovulated yet. I've been taking predictors. They're getting darker. I took and you can take an ovulation calculator on the internet, which I'm sure everybody's done. But I got mine on Baby Center, and it basically said that I would ovulate between the 12th and the 17th. So today is the 13th. I still haven't ovulated. And I also read that Clomid can make you ovulate later. So I've never had a problem ovulating before, so I'm not really scared that I'm not going to ovulate, but I am kind of anxious for it to happen. And then we will continue to have to baby dance all the way, every other day, all the way up until when my next period is due, because I also have heard that you can conceive twins that way, and I wouldn't mind conceiving twins since I'm pretty sure this is going to be my last pregnancy. But sometimes an egg drops afterwards, and so you want to make sure all your bases are covered. So I guess that's it. Sorry if I rambled. Just a quick story about how I'm crazy tired because my kids have been up and everything's just insane lately. Well, it's always insane, and you know that because you have a life, but anyway, everything's been insane. So today I went and got my brows waxed. I fell asleep. Getting the hair ripped off my face. I think that's an indicator that I might need a little extra sleep. Anyway, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I don't usually ask that, but I kind of noticed that like people do more of it if you do ask that. So if you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, don't give it a thumbs down. All right, YouTube, have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.